Yeah, hello and welcome to another update video about Bitcoin. Bitcoin has just now made a new low that was in line with the expectation. Should we drop below 16,070 US dollars, that we are going to come down, head to head into the region between 14 and 15k. In the previous video earlier today, before we saw the drop, we said that we could be in this 5-wave decline. 1, 2, 3, 4. Wave 4 was pretty much done, and then we started to drop here in wave 5. So I need to see. I think the previous video was basically here around 16k, wasn't it? I think then we saw a bit of a rally to the upside, but that was all part of the wave 4. So I haven't actually moved the wave count here at all. That is exactly how it was. And now we've seen this 5th wave. Now, bear in mind, there's numerous interpretations now how this decline could take place. I'm just opting here for just a normal impulsive wave structure to the downside. That could morph into something more like a diagonal pattern. In the end, that's not too relevant now. We need to get a bit more price information here. But I think we are now heading towards the 14.5k level, and I think more pain is coming. So in the next few days, I'm looking really at this 14.5k level now. Again, just to mention the key support levels again, should we break below 14.5k, then we should move down. Should we break below that, we should move down into the region around 10.5k, and so yeah, 10.5, and then we could look at maybe 6k and 3k. Okay, so all of this is very much possible. What we need to understand, because different scenarios are possible, that we could now also see a corrective rally to the upside here in a wave 2. So this is the main count, this is the primary count at the moment, but I want to make you aware of where we could see a corrective rally. That could be some, maybe give you an occasion or give you an opportunity for any profit taking if you have any long positions open. So at the moment, what we can see after we broke out of this triangle to the downside, I'm currently counting this as a triangle, but it doesn't need to be a triangle. There's another pattern that is possible as well. However, because we dropped below that $16,070 level, and because we've made a slightly lower low now than the previous one here from the 9th of November, it's now focused to the downside. Yeah, already when we dropped below $16,070. Even if we now recover, but it would most likely be just a corrective wave structure to the upside. So just because we're going up, we can't suddenly say the low is in. It would most likely just be a corrective wave structure until certain levels get broken. But primary expectation is now that we are obviously heading further down. Here, this 5th wave of the 1st wave to the downside could be pretty much finished. We need to be ready now for a wave 2 bounce at any moment. I mean, we already see here a bullish divergence on the 1-hour chart. The 4-hour chart doesn't really show it yet, but on the 1-hour we see it. Okay, that's good information. You clearly see a bullish divergence here. When could we expect this? Well, it's a bit hard to say, but you've got a trend line here that you can draw to connect these highs, and you can basically see the whole move here as some kind. It's very ugly, isn't it? As maybe some kind of a descending broadening wedge. Maybe we drop a little bit more in the short term. That's a very ugly channel. That doesn't really help, does it? It's very ugly, but we already see a small reversal here, and I wouldn't be surprised if we now see a bit of a corrective move to the upside. We are oversold on the 1-hour. We are oversold, I think, on the 4-hour chart as well. Yes, we are. And at some point you would expect here a bit of a bounce. Where could that lead to? I mean, we have 5 waves down as complete. And I mean, I would say, even though it's not the most beautiful trend line, but add some kind of a trend line like this to your chart, and as soon as it breaks, then this is basically the first evidence that a wave 2 is unfolding to the upside. That would not be nothing bullish. It would just be a corrective wave up in a larger downtrend. Where could that get to? I can give you a target for that as well. So that would most likely get into the region between 16.2 to 16,000, well, 16,200 to 16,552. Should we go above 16,552, would that suddenly be bullish? No, because then I would look at this slightly differently. The fact that we now made a new low doesn't just sort of confirm this overall bearish count. Yeah. So it doesn't suddenly go bullish just because we go above a certain level. It would need to do much more. So the first idea then would be that we're in a slightly different wave count here, and that from the high here, so that at the moment I've got the wave 4 here where the triangle peaked at around 16,800, but it could very well be that this was the wave 4, and we are already in this sort of move to the downside, that we started that actually earlier, and that in this fifth wave to the downside, this here was the wave 1. We are going to see a larger wave 2 to the upside before we come down in 3, move up in 4, and come down in 5. This wave 2 would allow the price to go a bit higher, but it would not be bullish. It would just be a larger correction because we have moved down in the wave 1 here. Then this was basically an A, B, C. It would be an expanded flat, and this wave 2 could go all the way up to 17,650. I wouldn't be surprised by that, and maybe even a little bit higher if it's an expanded flat. So I wouldn't be surprised to see at some point now a bit of a rally where everybody gets bullish again, but it would most likely just be a corrective rally to the upside. But in my opinion, the trend is now heading further down, and we need to be extremely careful. Only really if we get above the 18,140 level, I would be a bit more bullish or get bullish again on Bitcoin. Until then, it's now heading further down. So hopefully these two scenarios are fairly clear. So the yellow count here, actually leave them on the chart maybe. The yellow count would allow for a stronger retracement, and the white wave count only for a smaller retracement. I gave you the key levels in this video, but both are heading further to the downside. The yellow count would actually most likely be a bit more bearish actually, and probably head further to the downside because it allows us to recover also the indicators a little bit more before we are heading for much further downside. But also, not that you misunderstand me, I do expect here at some point a wave 2 correction, either way in this scenario or that scenario. But of course, if we drop already below 15,585, then it's probably before it does that going to head lower. Now 5, 3, 4, 5. I mean, this is absolute micro counting here, but I wouldn't be surprised to put one more low in here, I think. But nevertheless, if you draw a trend line on the chart, you should get a good idea when the wave 2 is starting. I leave it on the chart maybe for now, because if you're a channel member, you can watch the charts all the time. You get access to the live charts, and then you can actually see the trend line on there as well. And that would be a signal that wave 2 has started. Wave 2 would most likely be an ABC correction. But we've made a new low here today, even though just slightly, but it did here on Bitstamp. And that's my update about Bitcoin. Hopefully you liked the update. If you did, please hit the like button, leave a comment, and subscribe. And if you really like the content, then please check out the channel membership. Thanks a lot for watching. Bye bye.